My body's just shutting down. It's just giving up. It's just had enough of me. Hello, people of the internet. If you don't know who I am, hi, I'm Sarah. A while ago, in lockdown, I decided I wanted to make videos about books because I had nothing to do. And then lockdown ended, and all of a sudden, I was super busy and completely forgot that this was a thing that I was doing. However, things have died down a little bit. I have some free time now. I don't know how long this free time is going to last, but I have some free time. So I thought I might maybe come back to this a little bit. Basically, it's been a stressful couple of months. So lockdown finished and I went from 0 to 100. I went from not really having much on to basically absolutely no days off ever. I went back to doing my dance course in person, and what that basically means is I'm out of my house for 12 hours Monday to Friday. So doing that all day. Sometimes I would have work in the evening. Only a couple times I did that. And then Saturday, Sunday, I'd probably be working both days. So essentially, no days off. That's what I've been doing in a nutshell for the past few months. But I finished my course, I've graduated, I will be getting my qualification. I don't have it yet, but I'm getting it. I finished all my theory work, yay! Anyway, if my phone doesn't die, basically I thought I would just talk about some of the books I've read over the past few months because I read a lot on the train, so I read a lot on the train. So I did get quite a few books. Also, I'm really into K-pop at the moment. No one cares, but like, I'm really into K-pop. It's great. If you ever cared, ask for you. August, September, October, November. Yeah, so it's been like 4 months. That's a lot of books. Let's go to my Goodreads, and I'm just gonna talk through them. If you ever cared, ask. Oh, I need to check something. So in September, I read 3 books. Well, technically 4. So at the beginning of September, I finished King of Crows, but I've already talked about that one. Then I read Exciting Times by Nora Stolen, which I really liked. Am I going to explain the book? I'm not going to explain the books. That's hard. But it's, so Exciting Times, it's very similar to Sally Rooney. Gives me those types of vibes. I did enjoy it. I had a couple of things I didn't really like about it, but I kind of want to do a whole video about that. I don't know yet though, so that would require planning and stuff. But yeah, I did like it. What did I give it something? I gave it 4 stars, so clearly I really did like it. I also read Mr. Impossible, which is the second book in the Dreamers trilogy. I really do love the Raven cycle and the universe. So I did like this book. I do remember it taking me a long time to get through though. I don't know why that was. I don't think it's the book. I think it was me. But I did like it, and I think I gave it 3 stars. I like that it's kind of like the Raven cycle, but they've grown up a little bit. I'm presuming with the people who read the Raven cycle when they were teenagers and how they've grown up with it. I did read it a little bit late. I'm not really a YA age anymore. The last book I read in September was Memorial by Brian Washington. This one, I think, yeah, I did like this one. I got through it pretty fast. I really liked his writing style. None of this makes sense. Oh, none of that's going in. Anyway, Memorial by Brian Washington. I think I gave it 4 stars. I really liked it. I read 5 books in October. And first of all, Eleanor Oliphant. I didn't really like it. I just didn't really like it. I mean, I didn't hate it. I just didn't like it. But I read it. It happened. Kim Jong-un, born 1982. I really loved this one. I read this one in about a day. It was really good. I think I gave it 4 stars. I don't really give 5 stars, but I gave it 4 stars. And it was very good. I would highly recommend. So much interesting commentary about feminism and the role of women in society and how they're treated by society, and some really great ideas explored. And then I read Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, which actually didn't take me as long to get through as I thought it would. It's a classic, and usually those take a bit longer, but the language wasn't as difficult as it might have been. Yeah, I really enjoyed this actually. I thought it was very interesting the way it was written, lots of the ideas she brought up. And I also really liked how the narrator was nameless, and kind of, she didn't really have that much character. Because the narrator like doesn't have a name, we don't really get attached to her as a character. It's kind of, the reader can put themselves into the story more, and it's kind of more of a looking glass thing. I don't know what I'm saying there. Anyway, it was a good book. I gave it, did I give it a rating? I gave it 3 stars. I think I would give it 3.5 stars actually. And then I read You Will Get Through This Night by Daniel Howe, which I actually really liked. I've read some criticism about it that, you know, it doesn't really say anything new, blah, blah, blah. But I really liked it. I thought there was some good ideas brought up, some good code mechanisms, maybe some things that people just need to be told. But it was written in a really good way that made it enjoyable to read. So I thought it was good. I think I gave it 4 stars. And then lastly, in October, I read Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami, which was a good book. It's my first Murakami. You can definitely tell it's written by a man in the late 90s. There are some things where I'm like, unnecessary. Why is that in there? But overall, I really enjoyed the writing style. I thought the characters were very interesting. Some of them, interesting is definitely the way to describe them, but I really enjoyed it. And I'm actually, at the moment, I'm reading Kafka on the Shore. I'm really wanting to read more translated books, like translated fiction from other countries, because I think that's really interesting and you get some really good perspectives. Now finally, November. I read 6 books in November, and let's go through them. The Great Gatsby, short read, quite good actually. I enjoyed it. I really liked Fitzgerald's writing. I found it very interesting. I'm just going to say Fitzgerald because Fitzgerald writing was really good, whether it was F. Scott's writing or his wife's. I wouldn't be surprised if Zelda actually wrote it, because there's some really interesting feminist ideas brought up in there that I don't know if a man in this time period really would have been thinking about. This girl he's after, he's basically just in love with his idea of her and not actually her. And that might have been a bit too feminist forward thinking for most men in that time period. Just because that's not something that would have crossed their minds. Try and find something that makes sense in their editing, Sarah. I think it's very, the reason and I actually think why do I do this to myself? Next book, Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. My least favorite Sally Rooney. It was fine. I just didn't love it that much. I didn't really care for any of the characters. Like, she didn't make me attached to them. And she really brings us some really interesting ideas in it, but I just didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to. I mean, I had high expectations and it did not reach them. Next, I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and this was really good. I understand why everyone's obsessed with it. I read it in like 2 days. That's how I know if I really love a book, if I read it in like 1 or 2 days, because I just can't put it down. I really loved it. I thought it was really well written. I really liked the different, the dual perspectives. Not because I was particularly attached to both characters that we were getting perspectives from, but because I thought it was very interesting to see how they mirrored each other. And then I read Underbelly by Anna Whitehouse. And Underbelly and The Museum of Broken Promises. They weren't books I actually had on my to-be-read list. I wasn't planning on reading them, but I was at the library, I saw them, the covers looked nice. It was kind of like oh, that looks interesting, and I just took them. It was really, really good. It was so interesting, and not something I would have like picked out by myself if I didn't just randomly go, oh, the cover looks cool. And it's basically about these 2 mothers with young children who become friends. The children become friends, and so they're therefore thrust into each other's lives, and they're both very different people, and it kind of examines how social media really plays a role in both of their lives, and it was very interesting. Very good. Would recommend. And then I read Emergency Contact by Mary H.K. Choi, and I read Permanent Record by her as well, and I enjoy her writing. I think it's very, very easy to read, like very flows on very well. Just very realistic, I guess. She's really good at getting into the heads of her characters, and so I actually really enjoyed reading the perspectives of both characters. Like, there are certain things that annoyed me about both of them, but I feel like that just made them more human. Very good read. I had a good time. And then The Museum of Broken Promises. This was kind of historical fiction, and it was following two different timelines for the same character. One in modern day, one in Cold War Czechoslovakia, when it's under communist rule. I much preferred the historical timeline. I thought that was really interesting because I don't really know much about Czech or that time period in that country or what the communist rule was like. And I thought it was very, very interesting to read about. And I would definitely recommend this book if you're into like historical fiction, or even if you like 1984. I feel like, I guess in my, like when I was at school and I did like the Cold War and World War II, we didn't really focus on lots of these European countries or anything. Like we definitely didn't learn about Czechoslovakia. We more learned about like how things that impacted Australia. So it's really good, I guess, to learn more about other countries and their history. And so I'm actually really interested in reading more about Czechoslovakia now. Oh my god, I don't know if I'm saying it right. I don't know if it was Czechoslovakia or the Czech Republic. I think it was Czechoslovakia when it was under communist rule, and now it's the Czech Republic. I'll Google it and correct myself. Yeah, that was all the books I read in September, October, and November. Yeah, that's it from me.